are in a place where it is safe and comfortable for you to do so, please close your eyes and begin to take some long, slow, deep, relaxing breaths in through your nose and out through your mouth. With every inhale, feel more light and peace entering your body and mind. With every exhale, feel like you're able to drop all tension and anything you do not want from your body and mind. Inhaling peace and exhaling as you let go. We picture ourselves on top of a beautiful mountain in the center of a circular grove of trees. In the center of this grove, a bonfire blazes forth, lighting us and the grove up with a sacred golden light. We recognize that this is the light of perfect love and perfect trust, and it quickly, easily, and safely burns away everything that is not like itself, leaving us feeling serene. Into this sacred space, we invoke the presence of our Creator. To many of us, our Creator reveals themselves to be a mother and father, a god and goddess. Into our sacred space, we also invite the presence of our angels, our teachers, and our guides. We dedicate the time that we now spend to one another, to each other, and to them. And we ask that we be guided and led as we walk upon the way, becoming happier, more gentle, more prosperous, more peaceful, and more loving people. Thank you very much. And together we say, blessed be. We are still on the 8 different aspects of divinity. And today I want to talk about the aspect of divinity known as perfect love. A lot of people say God is love, but love is also God. Love is God. Love is an aspect of God, or a divine name for God. We have a lot of Hebrew God names that we use sometimes in magic, but the English names of God are good too. When you look in the Psalms and they talk about the name of God, the names of God, there are very specific names for God. And one of the names of God is love. And God is not a gendered being. It's a pre-gender experience. It's not an entity separate from us. It's our source. It's our spiritual source. God is not just loving. God is love itself. Ultimately, there's no condition that love can't heal. Now, there are times in this world where it seems like something can't be healed. Like when somebody's got a fatal illness and they eventually pass, and and you think love didn't heal that. But that's not necessarily true, because you and I can't always understand the path of another person. And the fact that they're going through what they're going through, we don't always understand it. But that doesn't mean that our love for them isn't a healer, and that their love for us isn't a healer. And that ultimately, the problems of this world, when you come down to brass tacks, have to do with a lack of love. And we think we have all kinds of problems. We think we have financial problems and relationship problems and societal problems and race relationship problems. We think that we have economic problems. We think that we have problems with the environment. We think we have all kinds of problems. But in reality, those are a multitude of manifestations of a singular problem, and that's a lack of love. We talk about how the environment is in big trouble because of our use of fossil fuels. But it's not the fossil fuels that's the cause of the problem. It's the lack of love that's the cause of the problem. Because if we were loving, if love was our goal, the second we heard that fossil fuels were causing a problem with the environment decades and decades ago, it would have been an immediate thing where we all agreed around the globe, we're going to fix this. We're going to find something to do about this. No more fossil fuels. So it's not the fossil fuels that's causing the problem. It's the lack of love that's causing the problem. Greed and love do not coexist. Greed is a type of fear, and fear is the opposite of love. Now, you can tell whether something's love or fear based on the tension that exists in your body. Fear always has tension present. Love never has tension present. Love, we can give it a twofold definition. It is that which is peaceful, and you can say relaxed. When love is present, there is no tension. And there is a corresponding desire to heal or to help or to relieve pain. So on one hand, it's a peaceful emotion, and on the other hand, it has a corresponding desire for compassion. Those two things together are evidence that love is present. So if there's a problem in our lives, either personally or collectively, the first thing we have to ask ourselves is love present? Now we know how easy it is to find whether or not love is present in us. Are we relaxed? And do we desire to help? So if we are tense and we're desiring to argue, no matter how right we are, that's not love. Now, that's not to say that there isn't absolute time and space where those kinds of things are appropriate, where we have arguments and things like that. But there are some people that are so good at that, they can give off the impression that they're having an argument for the sake of doing some service in the world, but they're staying at peace. They're not desiring the destruction of their opponent. They are using their argument in a way to bring about healing. Whereas fear, you know that it's fear if there's tension in the body and if there's a desire to destroy. There's always some sort of desire for destruction or pain or winning. When spirit wins, everybody wins. But from the perspective of fear, when we want to win, that means we want to destroy our opponent. And so that comes from a place of fear, when there's tension and the desire to destroy, versus love, which is relaxation and peace and the desire to heal. And if you just take those two definitions around your life, you're going to be able to discern which wavelength you're on. You can test it out for yourself. When you are in a state of fear, meaning that there's tension in your body and you have the desire to fight or flight, you have the desire to destroy, or sometimes just flee, but that's still a type of destruction. You're destroying your own peace of mind and your own courage by just running. And sometimes that's appropriate. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. But when fear is present, the only way that you can overcome that fear is through love. Sometimes fear can be temporarily helpful. In the moment, sometimes if you are in a dangerous situation, fear can take you out of present danger so that you can have a safe enough environment to where you can invoke the love that you need in order to heal that situation. So sometimes what we call fear in a temporary setting can be a very good thing because it can take you out of present physical danger. But it's very short-lived. It's very short-lived. And normally what happens with fear is an actual thought system that prevails. And fear likes to give birth to new fearful thought forms and expand itself like a cancer in our minds and in our collective unconscious. And the only thing that can combat that is love. So if we're spending quality time every day, relaxing our physical bodies and thinking thoughts of compassion, that is saving the entire human race thousands and thousands of years. If you're in a very dark room, say you had this big giant room, like this warehouse that was completely dark, and you turned on your cell phone, the darkness in that big giant room is somewhat destroyed by that little light from your cell phone. You can see from all the way across the other side of that dark warehouse that there's some sort of light happening. The same is true for the cavernous darkness of the collective unconscious mind of humanity that is in the throes of so much fear, and it seems like we can't escape. But you can test it yourself and see if you take some time out every day and consciously and purposefully relax your body and mind and imagine ideas of compassion, it brings light into that dark warehouse to a point where other people get inspired to do the same, even though they may never meet you, even though they may not know what's going on a conscious level, but they want to turn their cell phone on too. And they see you, oh, actually, we're in a dark warehouse, and if everybody keeps turning on their cell phone, we can see what we're doing. We can get out of here. We can just walk out because now there's light on our path, all because some people took some time out of their day to relax their body and their mind and start finding compassion. I don't talk about forgiveness because I think you should forgive. I talk about forgiveness because it's so helpful and healthy for our personal minds and also to help the collective unconscious mind of all of humanity. That light of love, that compassion and forgiveness is the only way to really invoke love in this world. No matter how much you just relax and think happy thoughts, it's not the same as relaxing and thinking forgiving thoughts. Who do you hate? Who do you loathe? Who does not, quote, deserve your forgiveness? That's your assignment right there. Those are the people that you get to relax your body and mind and think compassionate thoughts about. When you do that, you are healing you and us because love overcomes fear. And it's the only thing that can overcome fear. And it never fails. Love is a fierce force. A lot of people that have Anael as their birth angel, they say, it's just so much fluffiness. They don't understand that Anael is the fiercest of all in a way because love is her quality or his quality or their quality. And on the Hermetic tree of life, love is sphere number 7, which is victory. Victory. Nothing overcomes like love. Love is victory. But when we think of victory, we think go in and just shoot them all down, and then we're victorious over them. That's not victory. Victory means you can't hurt me. You don't have the power to hurt me. The only thing that can hurt peace is tension. But when you relax tension, you're back at peace. You can't relax peace. You can obscure peace with tension, but you can't relax out of peace. It's always there. It's always underneath it all. It's understandable that when we are talking about forgiveness, that people get a little bit worried because they misunderstand and think that forgiveness means condoning bad behavior. But it doesn't mean that. It means correcting it. It means correcting it. When somebody is stealing, we need to somehow bind their behavior temporarily to stop it. It's good for them, and it's also good for society. When there's a serial killer, which is a very diseased part of the mind, we have to remove them from society for their particular incarnation. But that doesn't mean that we hate them. When a baby is colicky, we don't hate them for it. We don't kill them. We don't throw them out the window because they're colicky and they disturbed our peace. We understand that there's a problem with the baby and we forgive them, but we have to attend to the problem, right? It's a very sophomoric view of forgiveness that I just can't forgive them because then they're just going to keep doing what they do. You know that's not true. I think we've gone beyond that. So don't use that as an excuse to keep yourself stuck in resentment. Because the longer you keep yourself stuck in resentment, what are you really in? Fear. And when you're in fear, then you're in disease. Whether it's mental disease, physical disease, the disease of the environment, disease comes from fear. And the only cure for that disease is love. Peacefulness within your body and mind, and the desire for compassion, the desire to heal. The desire to heal is most necessary where there are current grievances and resentments. So you got to start with those. Don't make those last on your list, because that's where the disease is prevalent in your life. There is a disease, and it's been there since the beginning of the ego mind. And this disease is fear. And we don't think that we can live a life without fear. We believe that fear is our protector, that fear is something that is necessary or a necessary evil. And ultimately, it's not true. Like I said, infinite intelligence can use fear temporarily to get you out of a bind, but it's ultimately not where we want to be. When we are working with the power of divine love, we have to understand that love is fierce. Love is peaceful. Love is compassionate, and love overcomes all problems, ultimately. And we don't always have to know how, and we don't always have to know why, but we do know that we have the power within us to invoke divine love in any situation where there seems to be a problem. And the way we do that is to calm our minds and bodies and find compassion and the desire to heal. And that usually in this particular time-space continuum comes as the act of forgiveness. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. Until next time, blessed be.